So I posted this a couple days ago. I thought the clapback was hilarious, but I want to focus a little bit more on her original post. I gotta believe that what this woman thinks is that by having 50% conservative professors on college campuses by 2026 will allow for a more conservative ideology to be taught to America's youth. What's baffling to me about that is literally the definition of indoctrination, which they seem to have such an issue with. Now, I've done no research, but I would bet my life savings that if I were to check this woman's social media history, she is firmly against CRT because she believes it's indoctrination. For whatever reason, they think CRT is some woke left-leaning ideology instead of actual history and provable systemic framework within our government and the way that our laws are written. Let me share with you what an actual good professor is. A few years ago, I decided to go back to college to pursue my degree. And one of the first classes I took was a U.S. government class, which taught about U.S. government and U.S. history. Everything from the inception of the country up through the Revolutionary War, the Federalist Papers, Civil War, civil rights, you name it, all the way up to the shit show that we call American politics today. Now I'm from the state of Oklahoma, or I live in the state of Oklahoma, I should say. So depending on what part of history we were talking about in this class, it sparked some pretty heated debates and conversations. One of the things that impressed the hell out of me about my college professor in this particular course was the way that he navigated these conversations. The students would often look to him to validate or invalidate an argument, no matter which side of the argument you were on. If you were arguing a conservative viewpoint or a liberal viewpoint, again, based on whatever the topic was, they would often look to the professor to validate. What do you think about this, professor? He's the professional, right? The thing that impressed me the most is that the only thing that he used to navigate these conversations was historical fact and data. Historical fact and data. Whether it lent to the argument or took away from the argument, historical fact and data. To this day, if you ask me whether that professor was Republican or Democrat, left-leaning or right-leaning, liberal or conservative, I could not tell you. No one in the class could. I can tell you about Plessy versus Ferguson. I can tell you about the annexation of Hawaii. I can tell you how our three chambers of government are supposed to work. But I could not tell you about his political affiliation. No one in that class could, and that is exactly the way it is supposed to be. That man got up in front of that class every single day, and he taught provable historical facts. He didn't share his opinions about the United States government. He just taught about the government. Good, bad, and otherwise. And the reality of the government and the state and the country that we live in is it's a lot of fucking bad. And no matter how hard you guys try to erase it, change the narrative about it, it does not change our history. I would caution everybody to buy a fucking book. Buy as many books as you possibly can. I remember reading Fahrenheit 451 many, many years ago. If you haven't read it, I would absolutely recommend it, because for anybody who read that book even 20 years ago, you would think that it's science fiction. It's becoming less and less fiction every single day. See, most of us actually agree with you guys. Indoctrination does not have a place in the classroom. The problem is you guys have a fucked up, warped definition of what indoctrination is. Because a gay teacher has a picture of his husband on his desk doesn't mean that he's trying to make your kids gay. Just because we're teaching about American history and the atrocities of it doesn't mean we're trying to make white kids feel bad. We're trying to educate them so they don't become the same fucking monsters that you guys have always been.